everybody. Well, I'm here with Marvin, and today we're going to learn and debate whether you should be jerking off to your SP or retaining your semen for your SP. I said that with a pretty straight, dead on face, didn't I, Marv?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because I started laughing as soon as you said it.
You started giggling? Well, listen, guys and gals, because I'm sure there's some gals working or watching this and working. This is going to be an interesting video. Did you just do the jerk off motion with your hands? No.
No, that's the rub. That's the rub.
Oh, that's the rub.
That's the
Okay.
rub.
Now this is getting, yeah, we're getting even more just somber and serious. You never would know by listening to these two assholes, but Marv and I actually know a thing or two about relationships and have been combined coaching people on these various stress management, relationship, law of attraction type of ideas for combined. The LOA stuff maybe 15 years combined, 20 years for coaching overall, for sure. And we've both had, hundreds of clients that we've helped with relationship issues over the last half year, almost year now. We've paired up to do some legit SP coaching, and we get results for people, and we talk about this stuff in a way that you really aren't going to hear anybody else in the community talk about it. And that includes, I can't believe we have not done this together earlier, Marv, a semen retention versus jerking off video to get your SP back. I mean, what were we thinking? Our content is just, oh man, it's gone downhill if we hadn't gotten to it until now. Well, now we're here. Marv, what is one of, if not the most popular video on your channel that we discovered last week?
The most popular video is my Neville SATS. Use Neville SATS combined with orgasms to manifest your SP. That's the most popular video on my channel.
Oh man. Ooh. Wow. Wow. There you have it, folks. People want to know about, and this goes for both men and women, utilizing orgasms, utilizing masturbation as a way to attract your SP back. So in other words, via SATS, a state akin to sleep, a hypnotic mood, pleasuring yourself, imagining, and Marv, you're the professional. You made the popular video before. I've never made a video on this. Pleasuring yourself in that hypnotic state akin to sleep mood. So it's as if your partner is actually intercoursing with you. Definitely a real verb. And yeah, I mean, that orgasm is the release of the wish fulfilled. Actually, Neville loved using, Neville's got that lecture, The Secret of the Sperm. Neville actually loved using this orgasm metaphor. Tell us more about this, Marv. Is there anything more to say? Then we're going to get to semen retention.
Yeah, well, I think if used the right way, I think masturbation can definitely be a tool. And that's essentially what I alluded to in my first video I put out. I think I put that video back out in 2020, honestly. I think
That's
when
old.
I first started my channel, yeah, that was back in 2020, I believe. And essentially, I think if utilized right, masturbation can be a great tool potentially to help manifest not even an SP, it's just desires overall.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is it's such a euphoric feeling. It's such a euphoric orgasmic relief, and you have explosion and then you have implosion. And men typically are exploding, right? Because we have semen, we ejaculate, and typically the orgasm is we are releasing, which is why typically men, we feel drained afterwards. Women, when they have orgasms, they get energized because their orgasms tend to be implosions. The orgasm is inside of the body. It's not, there's nothing really, sometimes there's nothing being released like how with men. is. And so now obviously it can for women, but typically men are known as exploding and women are known as imploding and having implosions with their orgasms. And men can also implode as well. Men can have orgasms too without ejaculating. It's extremely difficult for men to do that though. You really have to train yourself.
We're gonna
in a
get
sense.
into it with semen retention though. Don't worry, Marv. I mean, that's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
No
yeah,
pun intended.
yeah.
Uh,
But you were gonna say something?
no, no, I think that's actually great. You're nailing it, man. It's just so easy to do puns here. I'm not even meaning
Oh
to.
yeah.
Uh, this is such a brilliant video we've come up with here. Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with you actually. All joking aside, you hear a lot. This question is actually, people ask this question, newbies, like on Neville Reddit and stuff like that, somewhat regularly. Like, well, like I'm masturbating to, a part like someone I want to be with. Like, why don't they manifest? And the reason is, I think Neville would say, and I think that generally speaking, again, there's our favorite N word, nuance. There's always nuances to this, but generally speaking, when people masturbate, it's fantasy, so it feels good, but it in some way, even though you briefly might feel like it's real or whatever, it's like this fantastic experience. What Neville would recommend is like masturbating, like you are really with like you're truly in the act imaginally. Now that's a different feeling, and that's a different explosion or implosion, you could say. And it's a very powerful tool. I completely agree with you. It's a very powerful tool, not just for perhaps manifesting your partner back or manifesting a new partner, but it's just it can be such a release, or just such a feeling of fullness or whatever, that it really can be a great bridge to so many desires, the desired end state, right? Neville also often gave the example of like, when you have a desire and then like you feel it, the wish is fulfilled, it's like you can't go on, it's over, right? You become impotent momentarily because it's done, it is done, right? So this really does tie into it. All joking aside, it's a very interesting thing to think about, and something that you can certainly practice. You can, if you want to, you can make your, masturbating less fantastical, less fantasy, and more more realism based, if you want to.
More intention based.
More intention based, right? It's just to be blunt, it's something I never have done, but I can certainly see the benefits of doing it. So
No, yeah, it's yeah, I'm the same. I said it in my first video. I said, listen, this is not me saying I've done this, and no shame if people have, but
no,
I
we're saying go for it. I mean,
my job, I said it in the video, my job, it's Tim's job, and honestly, is to just tell you guys um the whatever's out there, whatever information's out there, and then allow you to determine if you want to utilize it or not. And so that's the whole point of me making the video back then. That's the whole point of us making this now. Is if this is something you want to experiment with, then 100% go for it. Because like I said, whether you're by yourself or you can be with a partner, you can be in a relationship, you can utilize both of your energies if you're in a relationship already, and do this type of stuff, this type of sexual energy, and and imagine, for instance, your dream home, and experience that. Because the whole point is whether you're by yourself or with your partner, you want to get yourself aroused and you want to work yourself up to the orgasm state. And then right before your orgasm, and as you're orgasming, you want to imagine whatever your desire is, whether that's a new home, whether that's your SP coming back. You don't have to necessarily, when you do this, you don't have to necessarily be thinking about you having sex with your SP or anything like that. You could just simply think about your SP when you're about to have your orgasm, or whatever the case may be. But the whole point is right before the orgasm and during the orgasm, to think about whatever it is that you want, that to get excited about, to have that euphoric feeling about that new job, that new house or your SP or whatever the case, because it's not just centered around SP like we were saying earlier. This is around everything. And so whether you're by yourself, whether you're with a partner, that's basically the whole science behind it, is getting yourself in that state, thinking about what it is that you want. Because you're not going to be, I'm not going to tell you to be thinking about your dream house the entire time. You know what I mean? While you're masturbating or whatever, you'll probably be, especially
Good
for a
luck. Good
guy.
luck. Yeah. Good luck getting off to that.
Yeah, especially for a guy, you just sitting here trying to jerk off, thinking about your dream home. You know what I mean? The whole time, you probably go limping like within a couple of minutes. You know what I mean? You can't. So I'm not. That's why I'm saying,
If you don't, good on you.
good for you.
Gonna
Yeah, if you
manifest.
don't,
It's not.
good on you. You got some great veins and great everything. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is right before the orgasm and during the orgasm is when you want to turn your attention to whatever that desire is. You don't have to have it turned the entire however long you're going to do this. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's an important thing to clarify, obviously. Yeah, it's that feeling. And I'm actually, listen, Mark, what an in-depth video this has become. I'm going to be reading from Neville. This is from the question and answer. Shit, we've been doing this for a while. This is from the question and answer section of 5 Lessons by Neville Goddard. Some of you have heard of him. In all seriousness, I mean, a lot of people into the law of assumption have never read Neville. We recommend you start probably with 5 Lessons, which is a collection of 5 lectures that Neville did. The last section after the 5 Lessons is common questions and answers. This is one of the questions, and then the answer Neville gives. It illustrates the point that Marv just made. The question was, how often should I perform the imaginal act? A few days or several weeks? And Nev says, in the book of Genesis, the story is told of Jacob wrestling with an angel. This story gives us the clue we are looking for, that when satisfaction is reached, impotence follows. When the feeling of reality is yours, for the moment at least, you are mentally impotent. The desire to repeat the act of prayer is lost, having been replaced by the feeling of accomplishment. You cannot persist in wanting what you already have. If you assume you are what you desire to be to the point of ecstasy, you no longer want it. Your imaginal act is as much a creative act as a physical one, wherein man halts, shrinks, and is blessed. For as man creates his own likeness, so does your imaginal act transform itself into the likeness of your assumption. If, however, you do not reach the point of satisfaction, repeat the action over and over again until you feel as though you touched it and virtue went out of you. So a lot of sexual, orgasmic metaphorical language there.
I like it. I like it. I mean, it works, man. I had a lady comment on my TikTok video and she's like, yeah, I manifested my husband doing this. And then she goes, and I manifested the exact scene, whatever her scene was.
Yeah.
She was like, that's how it happened. And she manifested the exact scene and her husband. So I think if you want that to happen, I think it's a powerful tool to maybe experiment with, this is for everybody, guys, gals. And see what kind of results you get, everybody go back and watch my original video. You can see some of the comments on that.
Yeah, we'll link it.
Yeah, see some of the comments on that video, and people say it works. And I think a lot of the great teachers of the past, which Tim alluded to, semen retention, I think a lot of these guys talked about that, and Napoleon Hill, etc. But I think it could be. I think there's a difference in actually going for the full act versus the retention. But I'll let Tim start to, dive in.
No, I mean, I was going to say something else about this ejaculatory thing. Semen retention. Yeah, I guess let's jump into that. So this is, unsurprisingly, if you know Marvin and my approach, this is not which one's better. It's which one is better for you. And that's what I wanted to say by all means, if you have experience with either semen retention or, orgasming in the way we're describing, feel free to leave a comment if you want to below. We'd be curious. You always get some wild comments when you do videos of this nature, as is expected. Yeah, I mean, semen retention is probably something that's much more talked about, a much more popular topic. Marv, you just said Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. But yeah, I mean, you hear a lot about it. I feel like you hear more about it in Eastern traditions, than you do in the West.
For sure.
Slight surprise, I actually do have some experience with this. I agree with you, Marv. Without question. I mean, there's something to this. There's a reason that people talk about, like, increasing your energy, becoming more like emotionally in tune. If you're a male, and I can't speak intelligently enough if you were female and doing how this would work, but as a male, not ejaculating for a while can definitely do something. That said, we've had multiple guys ask us about it, and I've been more than you, Mark, probably even like don't fucking worry about it. Like don't fucking do it. Like don't be obsessed over it. When I did it, I was relatively new to my relationship with my girlfriend, who was to become my wife. And I have to tell you, it was fucking incredibly fruitful doing it. I did it for like almost a month, if I remember correctly. And, just frankly, was having sex all the time, not ejaculating. Like Marv said, ain't easy. It is not a joke. But you read Kundalini stuff, there's so many there's so much tantric stuff and whatever about it. And I'm not an expert or anything in any of that stuff, but I remember there was a David Dita book actually I read that I really liked. I'll put a link below to that, called like David Dita is the guy who wrote The Way of the Superior Man. You ever hear that book, Marv?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, damn good book. He wrote a sex manual book as well. Some of the stuff which he talks about in The Way of the Superior Man. I was into that at that time. I was like 27, maybe 28. Anyway, it was really interesting. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I had that experience. So yeah, I mean, even though I think it can be kind of overblown and people fucking make it seem like something it's not necessarily going to be, but it can be great to build trust in a relationship for sure. If you're a dude with a woman and you're not ejaculating and you're making her come, she's going to feel safe with you and loved. I mean, that's just facts, guys. Yeah, that's the PSA segment of the but yeah, that's my limited experience. Again, feel free to comment below. And yeah, Marv, I don't know what other thoughts you have in terms of it.
Yeah, I think for a lot of guys it is beneficial for sure. But I also, playing devil's advocate, I also think it just depends on the person,
Yes,
because
for sure.
I think you hear so many people say you'll get more done, you'll have more energy, all of that type of stuff, especially for guys, because women orgasms tend to make you guys more energized. I think I mentioned that earlier in your video. When guys orgasms, it's our sperm is life force.
Right. Women can orgasm, relatively easily multiple times, where it's much harder for like a male to orgasm multiple times within a short period of time. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if the woman is turned on, it's super easy for a woman to orgasm. You know what I mean? Especially like you said, multiple times. Typically, when a guy orgasms, he's done.
One and done.
He might be done for the night, or it's going to take him at least an hour or whatever, 30 minutes, an hour or longer to be able to get an erection and to be able to keep going. Very rarely do guys have orgasms without ejaculating. It's super hard, or very rarely do guys have orgasms and then they can keep going even if they do ejaculate. That's extremely rare, especially if you're not taking anything and you're just still. That's extremely rare for a lot of guys. But I think with retention, I think it depends on the person whether or not it's going to actually affect you or not. Because I think there are some people who can get away with having a lot of sex or masturbating a lot and still be productive.
For sure.
And
That's a very important point, I think.
but I do think that there are people out there where too much masturbation will hinder you for sure. If you
For
have
sure.
if you have an addiction to porn or anything like that, I think it can have the adverse effects on you, and it's actually to your detriment a lot of times. But if you're doing it, and this is why I say it depends on the person, because some people can masturbate a lot and still get shit done. You know, I think about people like back in the day, like for instance, somebody like you hear the stories about Genghis Khan. He was just going around banging everybody, you know what I'm saying, and conquering land and shit. And they were saying, I forget what the stat is, but they were saying, I don't know, 1/3 of the people over in Asia or some shit are probably his progeny. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he was just banging everything.
That's gotta be myth, man. That's like
I mean,
Will
maybe it
Chamberlain
is.
times
Yeah,
20.
we'll check. Yeah, because I mean, maybe it is, but I think there are men who can, have sex. I'll tell you, I guess a recent guy who everybody knows, well, the guys might know, Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian, he had a sex addiction, and he was banging chicks all the time. And you see him, I mean, he was still getting shit done, and
Right.
whatever the case might be. So again, it depends on the person. It depends on, if you think you have a problem, then I would say semen retention will definitely probably help you and preserve your energy. But like Tim said earlier, I've had the experience of semen retention as well, and I know for myself, I definitely do notice more clarity, more energy, more time to get stuff done, because essentially what you're doing is you're transmuting that energy. Napoleon Hill talks about it. You're transmuting that sexual energy, and instead of orgasming, you're going to say, I'm going to take that energy from jerking off or masturbating or whatever, and I'm going to put that into my artwork, or I'm going to put that into creating content. I'm going to put that into building whatever business that I'm in. And that's what you do. And so a lot of times you notice people when they do that type of stuff, it's because they're bored. They'll get bored and they'll say, oh, I'm going to, jerk off or whatever the case may be, instead of building my business or doing that. And so it teaches you discipline. There's a lot of benefits behind it. But again, this it depends. It depends on the person. If you're one of those people that can just keep, having sex or just keep masturbating, then go for it. And you think it doesn't affect your results, hey, more power to you. But if not, then I suggest you, taper it down a little bit, if not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's an important point. That was a great summation of how it depends on the individual, the pros and cons. I will say, like, in terms of just relief for guys, a lot of times like jerking off actually can be a great relief mechanism or whatever. I'm sure you've seen that Ernest Borgnine thing or whatever. They're like, how do you keep so young? And he's like, I jerk off every day, or I jerk off all, and he was like 86 or whatever at the time. So it's like, again, it's all nuanced. I do
Prostate
feel
health
like
is good for
what's that?
sure. Prostate health.
Yeah.
It's great for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't jerk off, you'll probably get prostate cancer. Seriously.
You got to do that
like,
you got to do the other
yeah.
stuff then. Exactly. The
Yeah.
stuff to compensate for it if you're not. Yeah. I think it's important for us to mention, because like really our specialty, which is not giving like, tantric sex advice, which is basically what this is in a way,
Right.
like is the imaginal aspect. I think, especially with semen retention, it's going to be how you imaginally are reacting to what you're fucking doing. Because basically it's like I can tell you, like when I did semen retention, for a few weeks, my auto suggestion was like, this is going to work and be light and like change stuff. And like, lo and behold, it did,
Right.
and like, and I think a lot of the semen retention stuff you see on YouTube is like, it's the placebo effect, quite frankly. Not to say there's nothing to it. I agree with everything you said, Marv, in terms of energy, focus, discipline, etc. But for all this stuff, there is a placebo effect. There's people that can feel more tired after they jerk off. There's other people like that jerking off gives them the release they need to get through the next day or the next 6 hours or whatever.
Stress reliever, yeah.
Right. So unsurprisingly, it's nuanced, not black and white. This is this is the SP coaching stuff that I don't know. Listen, if there's other SP coaches talking about this stuff, let us know, because we will have them on and have
I've never heard
a circle jerk. Just kidding.
Circle.
No, I mean, the way people talk about this stuff, it's so pie in the sky. Hopefully the way Marv and I just talked about it seems a little bit more down to earth, and you can utilize it whether you're a guy or gal, you can utilize some of these tools how you like.
Major point to your point earlier that you just said just a little about a couple minutes ago, or maybe less than a minute ago. Breathing is extremely important when doing that, when whether you're masturbating or whether you're having sex with somebody, actually breathing, how you control your breath and that type of stuff.
Yep.
In the tantric, especially in the tantric practice.
That's how you can retain, how you cannot come, basically, if you're a dude.
You
gotta be the
you
breath.
start to build up orgasm control and release when you want to, and connecting, breathe. There's a couple exercises where you can breathe, synchronicity breathing with your partner and different stuff like that. And I think that's extremely important. But for guys, especially, like we're saying, that ejaculation and masturbation can particularly be healthy, especially for people out there trying to get pregnant. You're trying to get pregnant, you know, when they do these IVF therapies, they make the husbands typically masturbate 2 days before they actually get the sample sperm that's going to go in. It's for the IVF, for all that stuff to happen, for the egg, you know what I mean? The whole process.
Right.
They make so it's new sperm, because a lot of times guys aren't
old sperm ain't going to impregnate, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be sitting on 5-day-old sperm typically, which is why men produce sperm at such a high clip. I mean, which is why we can have babies until our 80s. You know what I mean? Well, and we can, 70s, 80s, we can still give birth. Shout out to Robert De Niro.
Yeah, just Al Pacino,
Al
man.
Pacino.
Fucking just read his autobiography. We'll be doing a video on that. That was a great one.
Oh yeah. You gotta let me know about that, because I haven't heard.
But yeah, no, they're Mick Jagger. I mean, that's not surprising. You see Mick at, what was it, the Oscars? Still going, man. He looked good for an 81-year-old. Working out 3 hours a day will pay off for you.
I know a guy, my very good friend of mine. His brother-in-law was Mick Jagger's driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so his sister married the guy that was a driver for a lot of famous people like Mick Jagger, Bill Cosby, a few others, Patti LaBelle.
Nice.
Just different shit. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Mick Jagger, his dad, I think, was a gym teacher, and he's been a workout fanatic his whole life. And Jane Fonda, she was at one award show too. I'm up on all the award shows, Marv. She's like 89. She doesn't look like most 89-year-olds, I'll tell you that.
That's awesome. That's the plan.
That's the plan.
And if you stay alive for another 10 years, I think sometime in the next 10, 20 years, they're going to figure out how to get people to live past 100. I really believe that. I think the way technology is going, I think they're going to, in the next 20 years, they're going to figure some shit out like that. So
yeah, well, there's more and more centarians, or whatever, however that is, that centarian, whatever that word is.
Yeah, centarian.
Yeah, than there ever have been, obviously. So good stuff. The secret to it all: tantric sex. No, just kidding. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. If you would like coaching, you know where to find us. In all seriousness, we can probably help you if you have SP issues. That's what we do when we work together. Link for that and all the other fun, juicy stuff we mentioned will be in the description. Until next time, be well.